All right. Good afternoon. Patrick Wilson with Mobile Bar Pilots on the State Pilots Commission. Uh, Down at Dauphin Island today. Interested to talk about maritime industry and as it fits into this project.
So the role of a bar pilot is a specialized captain. We basically relieve the master of the vessel. Do it locally, do it internationally, and it's an age-old industry. The service we provide, plus when we've been doing it, we're generally some of the first pieces of legislation and setup of in report in every country. We go out and board the vessels physically, relieve primarily any foreign vessels or vessels coming from foreign ports to give them custom service with local knowledge for the safety and the welfare of the local waterways. Well, kind of ever changing. A lot of it's due to licensing. Obviously, we are licensed dually under federal with the Coast Guard. And state under a state pilots commission. Each state is different, as is each country is different. But that being the case, it's kind of twofold. One, education based. Right now, primarily maritime accredited colleges where you graduate with a transportation and an unlimited license. Various schools around the country, or as I did it, and things have changed 30 years ago, a traditional degree, and then I came up through the industry, working on just coming up through my license. Gives you, two schools of thought, experience versus, a straight license path through school. Both of them change with the times of the criteria of the licensing criteria, or as that changes in regulations there within, but both are used and appreciated, kind of two paths to get to the same place. I mean, everything's different, and that's what's great about this job. Every day is different. If you do the same job, immediately right after it's different, the way vessels act. Our biggest challenges is, one, we take the con of the vessel, which is command of the vessel. You deal with a lot of things that are out of your power, and you try and make them compensate as best you can. That could be weather, of course. Tides, currents, issues you deal with, storms, winds, rain, fog, mechanical problems. You have boats, you have problems. You have engine problems. You have, when you're doing assist work with tugboats, they have a problem in a critical spot with currents or maneuvers. So, we could go on for days, and it's just really part of it. But that is why within our training, it takes years and years of, one, getting your license, then apprenticeships. Each group does a little bit different, but you just get exposure to all of it, and you're just trying to get a well-based, safety oriented scenario of how to handle with, we do very in-depth continuing education, training, simulating, so forth. So it's really, there's no specific thing. It's just kind of the broad-based, whatever the day brings at you. Like a lot of careers, some days are walks in the park, and other days are you're just mitigating issues. But generally, I would say mechanical and weather are your two primary issues you deal with. Yeah, I mean, you use them all. Our profession and a lot of other professions, kind of the golden rule is you make your human call and you factor in all the components you can use, and they help, and they're very specific, and you get a lot of great information. Whether that is, radar, the technology of radar, which has changed dramatically from sweep radars to, all the way down now to AIS. The things, of course, GPS change, the equipment changes, and then that's part of our continuing education and new equipment. And we see it all. You see the best of the best, the oldest of the old, and you bring them all in. But, what we have to do is use all of them, rely solely on none of them, and helps you to be better at making your time judgments, your best estimates, your ETAs. They all bring different components to the table, but it's changing a lot. It's making things more efficient, which is great. You can do a lot more now. You can do it with a much tighter safety parameter. So I think it's definitely helped, but it's a never-ending learning curve that's changing, and we find ourselves really working with the manufacturers, and even part of our group, as we network on a national level, deal with Congress on, because you have, just like the simplest radars, there are variations and deviations, and there are problems, and where there are, once again, electronics and all, there are issues. So nothing is, without error. And so that is up to us to know that, use it with discretion. I think it's one of the neatest things about it is it's just age old. It was one of the first trade components. It is still now a very effective world economy trade means that's cost effective comparatively. And especially now as you see the change from, and you have your break bulk, you have a lot of your just aggregate holds. You have now the container world is getting so much bigger, but you see how it really segues to the world economy, in different price points and different industries do different things. But it's amazing, and it's the test of time, and it's helped develop to who we are, where we are, communities, markets, and it's very much a component. So to see yourself as kind of in that bigger picture shows you the relevance and the importance of what we do. Well, and I enjoy talking to a lot of people because it is a enamoring profession, and a lot of times it's hard, like a lot of things, to really see exactly at the end of the day where you end up and what you're doing, especially when you're trying to make a decision at 18 years old, which I had to make, and I did it the hard way and pushed it off until I could figure it out later. But I think my greatest advice is you really don't get into be a bar pilot. A bar pilot is one aspect of being a mariner. And I think you have to get into pursuing the maritime field, whether that is license, engine room. As I tell some of the people that want to do it, I said, go get your degree, pursue it. You don't know if that path is going to take you down a corporate side, down a deck license side, down an engineering side, what it may be. But I obviously think it is a great field, especially in a maritime community, it kind of obviously streamlines you into a career and helps you focus, especially if you have that calling and you want to do it. And it really takes you down the road, like a lot of things, to where when you get more seasoned, you get more license, you get more experience, opportunity based, depends on where you are, what timing. Like with us, there are 14 bar pilots here, so there's not a lot of turnover. That's just as opportunities arise, or other places. And you may find that you like going to sea, being an unlimited master. You may find that you like coastal trade, which they're right now, a lot of the industry is doing very well. They're great jobs, they're great opportunities. And you kind of, like a lot of things in life, just have to find your niche and your opportunity when you're there, but you've got to go down the road to do that. So it's much more of a process than a quick decision, which is ultimately a good thing, I think. Well, yeah, we've had several things we've had to deal with in my career: the oil spill, COVID, and things like this are totally unexpected. There's no business plan, and for us, I remember it very well. Not far from here, things happened, and before it came down, before the regulations, before the government could figure out, we had ships coming in, and they were coming from foreign, and they were exposed to this, and we're trying to make it up. We are on the front end, whether it's in a situation like that, if it's imminent storm, hurricane, when we had the Gulf oil spill. I can speak for Alabama. We have a very good working relationship with the State Port Authority, with the Coast Guard, with congressional leadership in Montgomery, whether it be the Weather Service, or whatever health facilities during this, that we sit down and we get on the front end of it. We all get on the same page. We get the information we need, and we try and make prudent decisions for kind of what we do, which is the best interest of the bay, the people, the safety, the environment. And on that, we jumped on, like, and how do we handle that? Now, granted, we were different. We were really dealing with people coming from all around the world. They were crew changing. We didn't know what country, where were they coming to. They crew changed in Houston, came here first port. It was pretty challenging. So we worked with our medical team that we have to meet DOT standards that exceed, a lot of other standards. And we just put in the best practice plan we had, vaccines, quarantines, and jumped in front of it while still ultimately trying to be as efficient as we can to move the ships. But that also rolled down to the Port Authority and the harbor master and how they do it, and crew changes and agents and stevedores mixing with the crew as well. We just happened to be the first line of defense. So we had to figure it out pretty quick. And luckily, I think, when the page turned, you look back and we handled it pretty well. We kept things efficient. There was a lot of challenges, but it went pretty well. But that was one that we had to make up as we went. But again, you go back to your team and you get into it real fast and try to make good decisions. The good old thing, it depends. It depends on the state, how you're made up. It depends on the commerce, like any business, how well you're doing, how big your port is, how big your ships are. Our industry in general is heavily regulated. We work, and it's for a good thing for the state, that we work a lot like a municipality. So we have a governor-appointed board that oversees us in every capacity. And so anything we do, if it's rates, if it's apprentice programs, if it's safety procedures, any criteria, we do that pretty much through legislature or through our state-appointed commission. And so we go to industry and we negotiate kind of what is a standard. And so each state is a little different. Obviously, each country is a little different. But again, it goes back to how big your ships, how are you billing, how much turnover, how many partners. And like if we get busy, which is a good thing in a partnership, we add partners. Hopefully things don't go down, or when people retire, you go down in size. So you're a derivative of how well your port does, because we're service providers at the end of the day. And then as well, in Alabama, we also have harbor pilots, which are different from bar pilots, which have a very similar license and piloting job, and they work for the state directly in kind of a different capacity, not under the commission, but under the state port authority. And, it could be a salary base or a profit share. It's just, everything is a little bit different. So just it kind of depends. No, I think this is great. We, it is neat, down to be here working with this project and what the Sea Lab does. And we're very fortunate. We get a lot of science-based information, which helps, as I said, in the team networking, and too with the oil spill. Like I said, that was quite a challenge. Another one that you couldn't dream up, but to have the resources down here and the science-based information was great. And we're lucky in Alabama and the size of the port we have that we can really work in that manner. And you kind of know the players. We're big enough to get a lot of recognition and to stay, on the cusp of, one of the 10th biggest gross tonnage ports in the country, but still work fluidly with partners and efficiently enough where we can, I think we do it pretty well. So I've enjoyed being here, and in my career worked other ports before here, but I think we do it well.